Welcome, everyone, to episode 28 of Dial the Gate. My name is David Reed. We are launching a new branch of category today, Fandom Interviews, hosted by my friend Gary Jones. Gary, thank you for making this series possible. Our very first interviewee is going to be one of our moderators, Miss Sommer Roy. Sommer has had over 35 major surgeries and is one of the strongest people that I know. And she's just a fighter. And Gary, we wanted to start off with someone in our inner circle and then work our way out for more of these interviews. So Gary has recorded 6 so far, and Sommer is our first. So I'm going to let him take it from here. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Sommer, and enjoy the show. Okay, guys, ready for a photo in 3, 2, 1.
David, you do know that you're not on video when you got that picture, though.
That's
right?
correct. There were 9 of you. I wanted a Brady Bunch shot. If I put myself
gotcha. on, making sure.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Jones. Welcome to Dial the Gate. I'm using the one name that they managed not to use on Stargate. They gave me 17 other names, but I got to keep my own name for the credits. And so you might know me as Chief Master Sergeant Walter Harriman, and I'm just delighted to be here on Dial the Gate and interviewing various fans from around the world. It's the best. This is the closest I can get personally to being at a convention and having somebody come over to my table and chat me up. It's great. And the first person that I'm talking to today is the loveliest woman, Sommer Roy. And welcome, Sommer, to my laptop.
Thanks, Gary. It's so great to be here, and it's so great to see you again since I saw you in Chicago last summer.
Yeah, we've met before, and we've talked, and we had a great time.
We did.
Chicago's a fabulous city, so where are you situated right now? What?
I am in Texas,
really?
near Austin, Texas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, great, welcome. And what's been going on in your life in terms of like you know. I guess your husband, does he work from home, or can you leave the house, or what's the deal?
Well, I'm actually immuno-compromised, so I can't leave the house very often at all. I go to the doctor, and that's about it. Yeah, my husband's working from home right now. We've been very lucky that he can work from home, and he has a big setup and everything. They kind of imported his desk into our house. So he's set up and ready to go.
Really?
And, yeah.
Nice.
So
are you getting on each other's nerves, or what's the deal?
No, we're actually quite enjoying it very much because for the last probably 10 or 15 years, I've been running a family hotel, I guess. We have a lot of people that have come and gone into the house. And I actually took care of my grandmother for the last 3 years, and she passed away at 93 last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we absolutely adored having her, and we miss her very, very much. But this is the first time in a good 10, 15 years that we've actually had the house to ourselves. So it's been very enjoyable to be able to eat lunch together and just kind of have some downtime.
Oh, so. Does he get to, when he eats lunch with you, does he get to complain about the other people? Like, it's as if
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
I can't stand Dave in marketing. That guy bugs my ass.
Exactly. He does. He gets, he gets to vent a little bit and go back to work.
Right,
So I know a
right.
lot about what's going on with his job right
He's
now.
like, Sommer, check out this memo I got. What the hell is this all about?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's your chance to go, well, you know what you should do? You know what I would do? You just go in there and you just tell them, like,
Right. Yeah.
oh. Now, I read something like you just mentioned earlier about you're immunocompromised, and I know, uh, believe it or not, I have a connection to something like that in my own life because my girlfriend's son is 24. I've known him, been with her for 6 years, and he's immunocompromised. Like so he's got some cerebral palsy and a little bit of developmental delay, but he's really super high functioning, a great guy. But he's concerned, about going outside. He's very like, he's on top of it, right? If we say, oh, that maybe we can go to a restaurant, he's like, I don't know about that. He's so kudos to him. You know what I mean? But I was,
It's hard.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
hard, right?
Yeah, Zoom has been a lifesaver for me because I can see my family and my friends and chat and talk. And it's just been really great to be able to have at least some kind of human connection,
Yeah. Yeah. My mom is in a home. She's 85. She's in a home in Ontario, and she just has a landline. She's very old school, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to get her, because the place it's a wonderful place, but down on the main floor in the library they have a couple of desktop computers set up, and I was trying to get her to come on Zoom and say, we can talk face to face. She's like, oh no, it's computers. I don't like them. I don't want to. So I just did an end run. My girlfriend suggested you just do an end run around her and talk to the people there and set it up, and then just wheel my mom in front of the computer.
Yeah.
So she has no choice there. She's like, what's going on here? They go, well, we're just going to put you something you want to see here in the library. And they just wheeled her in front. And there I was, along with my girlfriend and her nephew from Wales and his wife. And we were all on the screen talking to my mom. And she was like, oh my God. She was so stunned that this is how it worked. And I said, Mom, like the simplest thing, like all I need to do is just arrange with the people there for them to send me a Zoom link, and we do work out the time differences, and away you go. But what I wanted to ask you about, which I just found really quite fascinating, was, is it true that watching Stargate was having a sort of a positive impact on your health?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, aside from my faith, and my friends and my family, I consider that one of the foremost things in my life that really helped me. And there's physical evidence of that as well, because I was in the hospital and it was after major surgery I'd had. It was either a hip replacement or a back surgery, one or the other. And Stargate would come in on the TV, and I would be a lot agitated. My blood pressure would be way too high. And then when Stargate, the theme song would come on, and my nurses would notice my blood pressure would go down and my stats would sort of go back to normal. And for that hour or whenever, I would do really well. And so they got to sort of joking about it. And the doctor came in and he said, well, let me just write that on your chart. He said, I'm prescribing Stargate for you every day.
Oh
You
my
need to
God.
watch. So it was actually on my medical chart, prescription for Stargate every day. And it was so comforting to me. The music, the score, the actors, the adventure, the family feel, the humor. It
My
just had
acting, my
everything.
acting,
Of
and my acting.
course, of
Thank you.
course. Watching you dial that gate every day.
I didn't want to
Uh,
have to put it in there myself because it sounded like you weren't getting to that part.
Oh
but,
no, trust me, I would. Because without you, nobody would go through the gate at all.
exactly. So like,
Yes,
there you go.
exactly.
That's incredible. You know, I didn't know that I find that really fascinating. The whole kind of like I guess it's almost like dopamine or whatever, like you
Yeah.
know, or it just like it releases a chemical that make you actually feel better and relax, or change you on a kind of like a molecular, you know, level or whatever, you know. Um, I think that is a very, very cool thing to know, because I have, over the years, I've talked to other fans also who have told me how watching Stargate SG-1, um, it got them through all this trauma in their lives. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when I first heard that, I was really like, I was like, what? No, seriously? And I mean, not in a kind of I wasn't blowing it off, but I was more like really taken aback of the kind of power of this show, you know, like it really, I don't know, what can you say about this show? Like I laugh about it because I kept doing conventions after the show was well off the air. Then it was in reruns, and now it's just been picked up by Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so excited about that.
I
Yes.
cannot. I was like, what? I as soon as I saw that, I actually texted Amanda Tapping, and I said, it literally is the show that won't die. It will not die. And she's like, she wrote me back. She's like, oh my God, can you believe it? You know, we were both like, wow. You know, it's almost like it's as iconic as like Seinfeld, or you know, the shows that you kind of know what you're going to get. You know, people, you can see why Netflix would want them would want something like Stargate to be on their roster, because it's almost like a no-brainer, you know.
Definitely. And the fans of this particular franchise are absolutely so loyal and so uh, they cherish the show. And even the younger generations that are growing up sort of outside the Stargate era, you know, are picking up on it and loving the show and creating more online word of mouth and online babble about it, and getting it out there and more known. And wonderful people like David, who is doing shows and highlighting the actors and the writers and all of that. And it's just something that I think sticks with people, and they're passing that on to the next generation, which I think is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. One time, another time that I got to sort of see the impact of the fans was years ago, when a friend of mine had said to me, I wasn't on Twitter, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, you should get on Twitter. Like, it's kind of perfect for you," because this was back when you could only write like 140 characters, you know, like they
Yeah.
opened up to 280. But back in the day, and I said to him, why? What, like, what's the big deal? And he said, well, believe it or not, he goes, the constraint of the 140 characters would be perfect for you in terms of writing jokes, because, and I was like, oh, okay. So, and he was right. So I get onto Twitter, and I'm just trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I get followers, and how do I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who was out there. I was just trying to sort of learn the actual you know, learn about this animal that was called Twitter. And I looked at other comedians like Steve Martin and Bill Murray, and I just saw, I mean, they had like thousands of followers. But I was watching what they wrote, and it was very much them. And I thought, well, I can't, that's just who they are. I can't emulate that. So what am I going to do? So I used to get the newspaper delivered, and I would go through the newspaper, and I would look for headlines that I thought had the potential to be a joke, you know. So it was like a daily current event thing that happened right then, and I would go, oh, that's funny, I can turn that into a joke, with the constraint of writing 140 characters. So that was really cool. And I was going on, and I was gaining like maybe 1 or 2 followers like every couple of days or something. And it was just, it was like climbing a mountain. It was fairly laborious. I was enjoying it, but there was like, people would go, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. And then they follow me. Well, one day, this woman, her name is Karen Ford, and she lives in Newfoundland. And she just wrote to me. I just posted a joke, and she wrote to me and she said, "Are you Gary Jones from Stargate?" And I was like, "Oh." So I just wrote it back, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm the gate technician." And she goes, "Oh my God!" And then there was like a flood of Stargate fans that just like poured into my feed. I was like, "What?" And so Karen Ford, it turns out, her and her husband ran a convention in Newfoundland, in St. John's, called Sci-Fi on the Rock. And I just thought, then I found out that that's why she even knew who I was and was asking, if I was Gary Jones from Stargate. And so I said, she told me that what she did and organized this convention. I said, "Oh, well, you have to invite me. You've got to invite me out there." And she said, "Well, yeah, but we're booked for this year." And I don't know what came over me, but I just said, no, I've got to come this year. You got to make it happen. And she's like, okay. So she talked to her husband, who was like in charge of booking. Next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Newfoundland. And,
Wow.
And I went to the Sci-Fi on the Rock convention, and it was fantastic. And then there was another guy. There's another city on the other side of Newfoundland that held their own convention too.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was at Sci-Fi on the Rock, and he said, "Oh, I want you to come to my convention."
Oh,
So
nice.
I ended up going to 2 conventions at 2 different times in Newfoundland, and then there was a fan from Prague, and this woman just DM'd me and said, "Have you ever come to the Prague convention?" And I said, "No, but I'd love to." And she said, "Well, I know the person who runs the convention."
Goodness.
So seriously, I said, "Give him my info. Give me his info." And I wrote to the guy, emailed him, and he invited me out. And I went out, and Jennifer Spence, who was one of the actors in Stargate Universe, she was out there too. And so I went out there and I spent the weekend in Prague. And this is all, to me, I just joined the dots all the way back to the Stargate fans,
Right.
meeting them through Twitter. And that's just an example of like the kind of like the power of the show and how many fans are out there. It was almost like pulling the plug out of a dam, and it just like the water just came pouring out, but I didn't know what was behind it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. The fans are absolutely amazing. I was lucky enough to be chosen as a super fan, and because I had submitted a video that I guess a lot of people applied, and I was lucky enough to be chosen. And I have a lot of medical stuff, so it's really hard for me to get out, but it just so happened that a lot of my medical stuff has been wrapping up and I could travel. And I've just met the best people, just the best. And even you and the actors that I've met, you're all just seem like the best group, down to earth. And, sometimes you meet your idols, I guess, and you're disappointed, you know what I mean? Because they're not exactly who you think that they are. And it's not that you are your character, but the fact that the actors and the writers also care about the fans, it says a lot about who you are. And I think that's what draws a lot of people to you guys still, is that you guys just have this ability to interact with us in a way that we feel like you really, really care, because it seems like you genuinely do.
well, for me, I mean, that's lovely to hear, but it took a bit of getting used to for me, to be honest, just, starting out going to my first conventions. But what I discovered after a while was, and it was like, kind of like, this was the common denominator. It was that it was a community, and I was being invited into a community. So the fact that I was being invited in, I didn't feel kind of distanced or separate from it. I think I did it, to be honest. I think I did it first only because I was like, what is this world? Why does anybody want to talk to me? Like I'm just I'm just a supporting guy on. No, seriously. I mean, I've never done conventions before, so I didn't know that world.
Yeah.
So when they first asked me to do one in Vancouver, they said, we want you to come out and do, I think it was GateCon, I think. And I said, no, I don't think so. They're like, what? Yeah, you should. And I was like, well, no, come on. Like the fans don't know me. And I used to think that the camera would pass me like this, like I was going, well, nobody even knows who I am. They go, yeah, you're the Chevron guy. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And so they told me all about it. So it was jarring at first and very, I had to find my sea legs. But once I got into it, and once I said, and going to enough conventions, surprisingly, you meet the same people over and over. Like so many of the fans of the same fans go to the conventions. So I actually have found myself like in Germany and in the US going, hey, I know you, like, oh my God, and it's really great. Yeah. Like it's genuinely lovely to see these people, and kind of amazing to think that they will take their holiday time, they will book their holidays and they'll travel to a convention because they just want to, they love Stargate so much that they want to talk to the actors.
Exactly. It's such a great experience for me because I feel like it's something that's got me through so much, and to actually see kind of behind the scenes and meet some of the people who helped create that entire world is just fascinating to me, and just something that is very close to my heart. So it's very, very much appreciated.
And the people that are on the show, they are just like regular people, they're actors, they're playing characters. But in my experience, like it would be really weird for me to see somebody that I know who's a friend on the show sort of not be like that in front of fans, like they are just like the people I know from the show. They're genuine, fun, smart, creative, lovely people. And I mean, that's probably why they got, partly why they got hired for the show, because they bring that to their acting, and then they're able then to translate that to the fans.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope one day I want to meet all of you, because secretly, I think that I'm part Furling. So, I'm a little short, some people might say.
Right.
So, I always just had this thing, Furlings just sort of sound like my people. So
right.
one day, maybe I might be on the show as a Furling. That's like the lifelong dream.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
See, I did a DNA test recently, and one of the things I'm quite interested in is Egyptian mythology, and I ended up being a lot of my heritage from Egypt and that area. Yeah, but there's a little bit of my DNA they couldn't figure out. That's the Furling part. That's the Furling.
That's hilarious. Well, listen, Sommer, it's been great to see you again and chat with you. And it's just wonderful. And I look forward to the next time we talk. It's always a blast talking to you.
Oh, I so much enjoy talking to you too, Gary. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy. And I love hearing your stories. You just have the best stories.
Thanks a lot. Bye, Sommer.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this episode. Hey, do you want to share your Stargate story on air with me? email the show at dialthegateshow@gmail.com. That's dialthegateshow@gmail.com. Tell us a little bit about how Stargate has helped you grow as a person or affected your life in a positive way. And I'll be recording more fan interviews in 2021. And you might be next. See you next time.